pretty striking, isn't it? You can barely go anywhere online or sit in a meeting without hearing AI called the new electricity.
Mm-hmm.
There's this real buzz that it's going to...
The potential is it's massive.
Yeah.
And it's driving so many conversations everywhere.
But what happens when that kind of revolutionary jolt hits a system that's, well, let's just say it's built for a different time?
Yeah.
That's really what we're digging into today. Our source material explores this really fascinating challenge, why big established companies often stumble trying to actually use AI effectively. And surprisingly, how traditional leadership styles create those roadblocks.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is the contrast the sources draw. You've got this incredibly fast-moving world of AI innovation. Think OpenAI, Google's Gemini, Grok.
Right.
These places often have flat structures. They move incredibly fast, powered by, younger developers making decisions super quickly. Days, not months.
Totally. You see these announcements constantly. New models, new capabilities,
Right.
almost overnight, it seems.
Exactly.
And then you look at these huge corporations, the ones who could benefit so much from AI, and they're often stuck in layers of management, old processes, and frankly, a much more cautious way of doing things.
And that friction, that's the core of our deep dive today, really. Why does this clash happen?
Right.
What are the specific ways old leadership styles, maybe unintentionally, just block progress? And, what does it mean for you if you're trying to push for AI in one of these places?
Exactly. Because if you're listening, maybe you've seen this yourself, or maybe you're one of those aspiring innovators the sources talk about, trying to figure out this complex landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump right into this core conflict. AI needs speed, flexibility.
And traditional leadership in big companies often has, structure. Deeply rooted structure.
Okay, so the sources really hammer this home. AI thrives on quick tests, learning, changing course fast.
Yeah, iteration, constant feedback loops.
But big companies, they often have these really established and, let's be honest, slower ways of making decisions.
They're slower, yeah.
So let's break that down. One big issue mentioned is bureaucratic bottlenecks. AI projects getting just stuck in layers of approvals. Can you flesh that out? Like, how does that actually stop AI from working?
Well, imagine the source gives a kind of scenario. An AI project, maybe for better customer recommendations, gets delayed 9 months. 9 months. Just waiting for 7 different layers of approval.
Wow. 9 months in AI time is like an eternity.
Exactly. By the time it gets the green light, the tech might be outdated, the market opportunity gone, that first mover advantage, poof.
Vanished.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Trying to use yesterday's approvals for tomorrow's tech.
You got it.
And then there's this other idea, power over progress. This one really jumped out. The source suggests some senior leaders, VPs, SVPs, might actually see AI as a threat to their own authority. How does that even work?
It can be subtle or not so subtle.
Okay.
Think about a leader who maybe isn't super tech savvy with AI.
Okay. They might feel a bit insecure if younger folks with the right skills start leading key AI projects. So maybe they, consciously or not, hold back resources, or they add extra hurdles, or just don't champion the project properly. The focus shifts from what's best for the company to keeping control.
So it's like they feel their own expertise isn't valued anymore, maybe?
Could be, yeah. So they might nitpick budgets, question the approach. Maybe not because of real concerns, but because it makes them uneasy about this new wave of expertise.
It sounds like that never outshine the mask idea the source mentioned. This like fear of the new guard, the digital natives who get AI.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. Leaders comfortable in their roles might see these fast-rising AI experts as, a challenge to their status.
Right.
So instead of nurturing that talent, leveraging it, they might, deliberately or not, just create an environment where those innovators are kind of held back. Ideas get stifled.
It's really about protecting the hierarchy over embracing the future, then.
In some cases, yeah. That seems to be what the source implies.
Okay, and then there's short-term thinking. This pressure for quarterly results, keeping things stable now. How does that clash with AI?
Well, AI often needs a longer view, right? It takes upfront investment, infrastructure, talent, experimentation.
And it might not pay off immediately. There might be failures first.
Exactly. The big returns might be further down the road, and there's uncertainty. So leaders laser focused on this quarter's numbers. They can be really hesitant to back projects with uncertain short-term outcomes, even if the long-term potential is massive.
So if these big companies keep going down this path, resisting AI because of these leadership issues, What's really at stake? Why should someone listening, maybe working in one of these places, be worried?
Oh, the stakes are huge. The source is really clear on this. First, just falling behind competitors.
Right.
You already see agile startups, even some forward-thinking big companies, using AI for real advantages, efficiency, customer insights, new products.
So if you're slow, you just get left in the dust.
Pretty much. You risk becoming irrelevant. And then there's talent, losing talent.
Yeah.
Good point.
The best people, especially AI experts, they want to work where they can actually do stuff, make an impact, see their ideas happen.
Not get stuck in approval loops for 9 months.
Exactly. If a company gets a reputation for stifling innovation, talented people leave, they go somewhere more dynamic, and that makes the original problem even worse, a brain drain.
So the very people who could help fix the problem leave.
Precisely. And finally, the source talks about stagnation over transformation. By resisting AI, companies miss out on automating tasks, making smarter decisions, maybe even finding whole new ways of doing business.
They're just stuck in the old ways while everyone else evolves.
That's the danger, choosing the familiar over the future.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. For those listeners, those aspiring innovators trying to make things happen inside these big ships, what strategies does the source offer? How do you navigate this maze?
Yeah, the source gives some really practical advice here. First up, forge alliances.
Okay, strength in numbers.
Exactly. Don't go it alone. Find like-minded people in other departments. Build a coalition. Your voice gets louder, your ideas carry more weight together.
Makes sense. Don't be a lone wolf. What else?
Secure a sponsor. This is crucial. Find a senior leader, someone with influence who actually gets innovation and sees AI's potential.
Someone high up who can provide cover and resources.
Yes, that political backing, that champion, it can make all the difference in getting things through the internal hurdles.
Okay, so you've got allies, you've got a sponsor, then what?
Then prove it small, win big. Don't try to boil the ocean. Start with small pilot projects. Focus on a specific nagging problem where you can show real, measurable results. Cost savings, efficiency gains, something tangible.
Show, don't just tell.
Exactly. Those early wins build credibility. They create momentum for bigger things later.
Well,
demonstrate the value first.
That's smart. And I bet you need to speak their language too, right?
Yeah.
As the source says, no deep tech jargon with the VPs.
Absolutely critical. Frame AI in terms they care about. How does it cut costs? How does it boost efficiency? How does it reduce risks?
Connected to their bottom line, their strategic goals.
Precisely. Avoid the weeds of algorithms and neural nets unless they ask. Make it about business value.
Okay, allies, sponsors, small wins, speaking the right language.
Yeah.
Anything else for these innovators?
Yes, timer moves. It's like organizational judo sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Know when to push hard and know when to maybe lay low, build more support quietly, wait for the right moment. Maybe a competitor makes a big AI move that could be your window.
So it's about being politically savvy, not just technically brilliant.
Very much so. And finally, a dose of reality. Brace for pushback.
Yeah, that sounds inevitable.
Challenging the status quo is, well, it's rarely smooth sailing in a big company. Expect resistance, maybe even some short-term bumps for yourself. Resilience is key. Keep the long game in mind.
Wow. So being an AI champion takes technical chops, strategic smarts, and some serious people skills. Let's talk more about that human factor, that outshining the master wisely bit. That sounds tricky.
It really is a tightrope walk, isn't it? You need to push innovation, show AI's value, but without making the leaders you need feel threatened or obsolete.
So how do you do that?
Well, one tactic is share the glory. When an AI project works, give credit upwards. Make your boss, your sponsor, look good. Frame it as their vision, their support that made it happen.
So it becomes a win for them too, reduces insecurity.
Exactly. It aligns their interests with AI's progress. Make it a team win, another subtle approach. Plant, don't preach.
Okay, what does that mean?
Instead of telling leaders we must do this AI strategy, maybe you subtly introduce ideas, mention a relevant article, frame a suggestion as building on something they said earlier.
Let them feel like it was their idea, or at least that they own part of it.
Yes. When people feel ownership, they're much more likely to champion something. It's influence, not dictation.
Clever. Strategic.
And related to that is balancing confidence and difference.
Right.
You have to show you know your stuff about AI, be confident in its potential.
Right.
But also show respect for the leader's experience, their authority. Position yourself as a partner helping them succeed, not someone trying to take over.
It's that competence plus emotional intelligence thing again.
Definitely. It's an organizational dance, as you said, knowing when to push, when to defer, and finally the source says, weigh the trade-offs.
Meaning?
Sometimes pushing too hard, too fast, it can backfire, damage relationships, maybe even hurt your own career path in the short term.
Ouch.
So you have to be strategic. Is this particular battle worth the potential cost right now? Or is there a smarter, maybe slightly slower way to get there? It's a judgment call.
So, stepping back, looking at everything we've discussed, it really feels like the biggest bottleneck for AI in big companies. It's often not the tech itself, is it? It's the people stuff, the leadership dynamics.
That's absolutely the core message coming through the sources, I think. Those old hierarchies, the ingrained ways of thinking about power and control, they can really stifle the very things AI needs to thrive. Agility, experimentation, collaboration.
So these companies face a choice, really. Adapt the leadership style, embrace this new way.
Or risk getting left behind. Risk becoming obsolete as the world moves on.
And for those listeners, those innovators trying to drive change from within. It sounds like a tough job, but a super important one, bridging that gap.
Hugely important. It takes that blend of tech understanding and organizational savvy we talked about.
Right. So the source material kind of hints that AI itself is almost limitless in its potential. Thinking about all this, what do you think is the real ceiling? Is it the technology, or is it us, our human ways of organizing and leading?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And maybe more personally for our listeners, what's one small shift in mindset in how you approach things or how your organization thinks that could actually unlock some real AI progress where you are? Something to chew on after we wrap up.